Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a prison show unlike any other. This isn't your average sad prison show in which you have to watch inmates survive in the most horrifying conditions imaginable, as well as watch guards strip these people's humanity away. I mean, these guys are literally confiscating a feather this guy found. I mean, this man hasn't seen a fucking tree since 1998. I don't know how this is fucking legal. Oh my god. But no. Oh no, this is 60 Days in Soy Boy Edition, a show where we get to watch out-of-shape civilians try and make it in jail undercover. The premise of regular 60 Days In is that 6 participants voluntarily go undercover in a prison unknown to the prisoners and the guards. Yeah, I don't know how this show's legal either. In every season of 60 Days In, there's always one participant that everyone knows isn't gonna do well. They're really only here to hopefully get punched in the face and make good ratings. For example, the producers will pick Nate. Oh, here's an ex-Marine. We think he'll do well because he literally used to get shot at for a living. And here's our other participant, Jeff the mall cop. We think his experience of kicking kids out of the food court will really help him in the prison environment. These guys are literally set up to fail, so I wanted to compare all of their experiences and see who came out on top. So without further ado, let's meet our participants. This, like I mentioned before, is Jeff the mall cop, and if you don't believe me that these guys are literally set up to fail, well, this is the footage the show decided to use of him.
I got bullied in high school. I'm running. I will run.
Our next participant is Brian. He's a attorney or some shit. I don't really care. Moving on, we have Gerson. He is a motivational speaker that mentors the youth. Gerson's honestly the most wholesome guy, and he's honestly the most honest guy.
You know, yeah, it's frightening. Yo, this is scary.
Yeah, I appreciate your honesty.
Everybody's like, oh, it's gonna be all right. Like, no, it's gonna be all right.
The next out-of-place character we have is Andrew, who's a Mormon. You literally can't make this shit up. He's not going to jail alone, though. He's bringing his dad, Matt, the most cinematic man I've ever seen. Just listen to the way Matt describes his own son.
Here comes Andrew with a sort of white privileged look. He's got a haircut that's well groomed. He looks soft, he looks white, he doesn't have calluses. Andrew is an immediate target.
Don't worry, Andrew, I'm sure my father would say the same about me. Next we have Mark, a super fan and ex-corrections officer. And I've just gotten word Gerson has dropped out before we've even gotten to jail. Apparently Gerson is not only the most honest, but the smartest of all the participants as well. And last but not least, we have Alex, a student and also super fan. And if you haven't figured it out by now, a super fan is essentially you and me. It's if you or I, a viewer of the show, went to prison. It's kind of the producer's nice way of saying, stop fucking messaging us. You're not gonna, I don't care how many episodes you've seen it, you're not gonna do well in prison. Fuck off. Before we begin, since we've already lost Gerson, I thought we'd follow Nate instead. Unlike any of our other participants, Nate will give us a perspective on how to thrive in prison. And why Nate, you may ask? Well, Nate was in the Marine Corps. Nate is in prison to find contraband. Nate keeps it real. Nate is a literal god.
Fine.
But you won't have a weapon in there.
I don't need a weapon.
You won't
I have my hands.
Okay.
Not really too nervous about going to jail. It's just kind of meeting new people.
This man is my fucking hero. If any of the participants make it through the full 60 days, they will win a brand new Nintendo Switch and be crowned the king of soy. And to gauge who does the best in prison, I'm going to be awarding points to each participant through a point system I make up as I go along. Now, let's begin. Alright, let's see how our participants are settling into the first week. Jeff's been in prison for 4 days now, and he's already gotten off on the wrong foot with an inmate that thinks the TV is talking to him. Let's see how this plays out.
I didn't do nonsense. All I was doing was talking to him, dude. What the f? I didn't do nothing.
He punched me really hard. I went out tonight.
I tried to explain to Jeff that he's just boosted our ratings tenfold by getting punched in the face, but he fears for his safety. But thankfully, he has served his purpose by getting punched in the face, so 1 point for Jeff. Alright, and our other participants, Andrew gets separated from his dad, which might be a benefit to him, honestly.
I have a responsibility to my son to protect him, not put him in harm's way. But I've got him here under false pretenses because he asked me. He said, Dad, am I at risk? Am I in danger? Could I die in here? You know what I said? Absolutely not. That's not true.
Mark joins the gang of white people, and Alex actually stands up for himself when some guy wants to mooch off his phone time. Good on you, Alex. Here's a point. You know what? On second thought, I'm gonna have to revoke that point. There's no use in the, my mommy won't let me trade Pokemon cards excuse in prison. Now let's check on our last contestant. Brian is by far the sexiest man in prison, and this has unfortunately brought him a lot of, unwanted attention.
You're so cute.
I said you can't ignore it.
I think that was bad. Wait till everybody goes to sleep.
I feel like he's gonna get raped in a second.
I want to avoid a physical confrontation. It's not worth it.
So Brian is now dropping out of fear of getting raped, and all I have to say is, fair enough. Now moving on to Nate. Nate has spent his week making new friends and playing basketball with the Bloods.
They call me White Mike. That's pretty cool. You know, I'm the first one picked on the team.
Well, alrighty there. Week 1 was a pretty rocky start for our participants. Let's see how they make it through week 2. Nate has now begun to teach the inmates hand-to-hand combat. Things are not looking good for our other participants. Alex has had some trouble making friends, so he's decided to smoke some clone with his roommate.
My new cellmates, Dalton and Bones, they are definitely participants in the drug issue that goes on in the jail. They smoke clone, which is tobacco sprayed with God knows what chemicals on it. People were telling stories in my old cell about, oh, that'll make you, eat people's faces off and, go crazy.
Checking in on Andrew, it turns out Nate has killed him and has now become a full-fledged member of the Bloods. Mark is now second in command of the White Gang, and unfortunately, he's been disqualified because he won't stop spouting his alt-right ideals.
So I'm going from, you're struggling, to, hey, I want you to be on the council and run the whites in the pot. It was just like, wow. Wow.
This guy is way too excited about being promoted in a white supremacist gang.
You choose your race. You have to stay with your race.
Here at 60 Days In Soy Boy Edition, we do not condone racism, so unfortunately, Mark, you gotta go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we only have one soy participant left, and I'm just getting word that in a drug-induced rage, Alex has eaten his own face off. And with Nate being the only participant remaining, it's left me thinking, what was the point of all this again? To find contraband or something? Take it from here, Sheriff Noel.
Yeah, I'm relieved that it went smoothly. There was no injuries, no one was hurt.
We learned that we were being very successful keeping street-level drugs out of the jail. However, inmates were still sneaking them in their body cavities.
Wow, so you're telling me that people sneak drugs into prison up their ass? Glad we sent 6 random people into jail to figure that one out. And lastly, Nate has requested to stay in prison an extra 60 days to take care of some, what he calls, gang shit. I thought I'd double check with him just in case.
Have you thought at all about 120 days versus 60?
Yeah, at this point, I want to do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, what an absolute badass.